You know that feeling. Like you could be so many different things, live so many different lives, become so many versions of yourself. But somehow, you're none of them. Like you're standing in front of infinite doors, and instead of choosing one, you just stay still. You're not lost, and you're not lazy either. Something deeper is happening. This isn't about not having direction. It's about having too many possibilities and feeling emotionally overwhelmed by all of them. Your mind doesn't just think about the future, it simulates it. Different careers, different lifestyles, different identities. And the strange part is, your brain starts treating these imagined versions as if they were partially real. That creates a quiet kind of exhaustion. It's like carrying multiple lives inside you, without ever actually living one. So this isn't confusion, it's overload. And clarity doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from limiting. If this feels like it's speaking directly to you, this channel might make more sense than you expect. But that's where it gets uncomfortable, because choosing one path feels like losing others. So you stay in the middle, where everything is still possible, but nothing is real. And without noticing, you start living in the future. One day I'll do this. One day I'll become that. That loop becomes a place you go to escape the weight of the present. The future turns into a kind of emotional refuge, where everything works and you finally feel ready. But the present feels messy, uncertain, incomplete. So your mind keeps escaping forward. This isn't lack of discipline. It's emotional avoidance, just disguised as vision. Because you're not really avoiding action. You're avoiding what comes before it. The doubt, the discomfort, the possibility of realizing you're not exactly who you imagined. That's why procrastination feels so heavy. It's not about the task. It's about what the task reveals. There's a gap between your imagined potential and your real, tested ability. And action exposes that gap. Imagining feels limitless. But doing forces definition. And definition can be uncomfortable. So you delay. Not because you don't care, but because acting might break the version of yourself you've been protecting. There's a question underneath it all that you rarely say out loud. What if I'm not all of this? And instead of finding out, you keep postponing the moment of truth. At the same time, your mind gives you small rewards just for thinking about change. Planning, organizing, imagining. It all creates a sense of progress. Your brain releases that feeling of, I'm moving forward, even when nothing actually moved. So you start confusing intention with transformation. Planning becomes a safe place where you feel productive without risking anything real. And then comes the part that's hardest to admit. You're not just avoiding action. You're avoiding choosing. Because choosing one path means letting go of others. It's a kind of silent grief. Every decision closes doors, and part of you wants to keep them all open, just in case. But keeping everything open doesn't protect you. It keeps you stuck. Indecision starts to feel like freedom, but over time, it becomes stagnation. Nothing grows in a life that's never chosen. So you tell yourself you need more motivation, that one day you'll feel ready. But what's actually missing isn't motivation. It's tolerance for the uncomfortable beginning. That phase where nothing feels rewarding yet. Where effort exists, but results don't. Where it's messy and unclear and far from the version you imagined. You're not unmotivated. You're avoiding that friction. Because in your mind, everything flows. But in reality, everything starts imperfect. And maybe the deepest layer of all this is the identity you've built in your head. That version of you that feels right, impressive, complete. You've held on to it for so long that acting in a messy, imperfect way feels like a threat to it. So you wait for the right moment, the right mindset, the right version of you to finally show up. But that version doesn't come first. It's built after you begin. And something shifts when you realize this. When you allow yourself to be less ready, less certain, less ideal, just to start. When you accept being a smaller, less polished version of yourself in reality, instead of a perfect version in your mind. You're not behind, you're not lost, and you're not lacking potential. You've just been living too much inside your head, protecting possibilities instead of experiencing life. And maybe that's why it's felt so heavy. Because you were never meant to carry all those versions of yourself at once. You were meant to choose one. And let it be real. You're not the only one who feels this. You just never had it explained this way before. And if this felt a little too familiar, if at some point it sounded like your own thoughts being said out loud, maybe this is the kind of space you've been missing. So you can stay close to this kind of clarity. Just follow the channel and let this be a place you come back to when your mind gets too loud again.